All right. Welcome to Educarte's Performance and Conversation Series, a new episode. And this is a great one. We're talking today to Amy K Bormet.
Hello, hello. What's happening?
All right. We're doing well. Happy to be here with you again. We had you
I,
last year.
I'm so happy to be back. I was jamming out to your intro music. I was like, hey, hey, oh, that was it. That was it right there.
Actually,
Friday night.
I think we played that video once before. It's like stock footage. And I think like YouTube took us down for copyright violation because it's a
No.
song. Yeah. Isn't that funny?
That's brutal.
But it's great to have you back on the show. And let me just let people know, Educarte is our nonprofit. And it's a cultural arts education nonprofit organization that builds communities by connecting artists and audiences. Educarte creates engaging performances and conversation and educational programming that highlight the value of cultural expression. To learn more, please visit Educarte at educarteinc.org. And now we're coming back to Amy. So Amy is a veteran on the jazz scene here in DC, right? Jazz.
I'm old. I'm real old.
Not old. I definitely wouldn't say that. There we go. Educarte Inc. on the screen for you. But you're an in-demand pianist, and you're a wonderful performer, composer. You're playing all around. We're going to talk all about it. But you also founded the Washington Women in Jazz, which I believe this year, did you change the name to International or Worldwide Washington Women in Jazz?
That's sort of our gimmick for the upcoming virtual festivals, Worldwide Women in Jazz, because it's like World Wide Web combined with Washington Women in Jazz. It all comes together.
I like it.
So that's it. We're trying to reach our global audience or global domination, all those things.
Yeah, well, now that everyone's on Zoom, like right now, you really are worldwide the whole time.
There you go.
Right? So you started the festival in 2011.
Yes. I started it right after I finished at Howard University. I was in grad school. And I was a emerging artist for the Mary Lou Williams Jazz Festival, which is, was completely a women in jazz festival. Now is sort of a hybrid, just jazz festival at the Kennedy Center. Started by Dr. Billy Taylor, who was one of my mentors, and he selected me for this emerging artist showcase as part of that festival. And I met all of these other women artists, and it was really the first time I'd been surrounded by women musicians. So I was like, this is something I need more of this in my life, and I bet a lot of other people do too, not only the musicians but also the audiences. And I wanted people to see women differently, and to make sure that women were actually being seen on the stage at jazz festivals. So
Well, I think you've succeeded at that. You've been going, how many years is it now, the festival?
this is 11.
11. And last year was canceled due to COVID, right?
Yeah, so we had to cancel all of our in-person events, and then we did some things online. We started to do things online during the summer and also during the holiday season. So now we're back with our annual festival in March. What happened was last year, like, I had to cancel everything right, like days before it started. I had this whole big festival planned out for our 10th anniversary festival, and then I canceled it all because we were supposed to start on, I believe the 15th of March. So it was kind of brutal.
Wow.
Like so many things. But I wasn't really prepared for that. And then I had rescheduled everything for the fall, and then even that didn't run. So now I decided that I would do something virtually for this March, so that people are expecting it. Normally the festival happens every March. So I had people coming to me like, what are we doing? What's happening in March? And it's still too cold to go outside, so this is what we're doing.
This is okay. So I want to get more into it, but just so we can excite people about it, why don't we show a small video of the Washington Women in Jazz Festival? This one is, I believe, Millennium Stage with Amy Yu and Ana Barreiro, or Barreiro.
Yes. This was our Barreiro, as they say here in America. Ana is one of my biggest collaborators. We put an album out together on Strange Woman Records, which my husband and I started last year, or year and a half ago. And our album is called Amy Anna because it's our names squished together. That's how we're friends, like that. And she's an incredible drummer. I met her in LA, and we've toured together and spent a lot of time playing a lot of different bands that weren't our band together, and then we decided we should do our project together. And so we went to Brazil in when was that? 2019, end of 2019.
Oh wow!
And did a tour, and it was awesome. And we did the DC Jazz Prix for the DC Jazz Festival and played there. So it was a quintet. And we're doing a tour in October, God willing. And
wow.
That
You're
is
in the US, you're in Brazil?
Yes, in the US. So we'll be up in New York at the Tribeca Performing Arts Center. And then we're doing a 2-day residency with Capital Bop, and then doing a bunch of house concerts in Virginia and North Carolina, and that's part of the Jazz Road program that's run by South Arts, and is a charitable program from the Doris Duke Foundation that supports touring for jazz musicians. So that's a really cool program, and I think it's rolling admissions, so if anybody's interested, just check out Jazz Roads from South Arts. So we're doing that in October, and of course I've had her come and play for the Washington Women in Jazz Festival several times. So the clip that I think you're going to play is the one from the Millennium Stage, the last time we had an in-person festival in 2019, and this was Washington Women in Jazz All-Stars. So a lot of times when I bring, all the time, when I bring artists outside of DC to come and perform for the Washington Women in Jazz Festival, I don't have them bring their whole bands. Not only because it's a whole bunch of money, but also because it gives us a chance to collaborate and to really connect them into the DC scene and to improve the network of the DC scene, so that when people go to LA, they have somebody that they've already played with, or when people go to New York, they have somebody they've already played with to connect with in a different way, on a different level, and it also just invites this special connection and collaboration in a space where a lot of times women are brought up to be super competitive and being the only woman in the band, and it can be really weird, and so instead I wanted to have this foster this community of women musicians. So this was one of those times that I brought Anna in to play with Shannon Gunn on trombone, who's here. Everybody else is in DC, and Karen Chapdelaine on the bass, and Sarah Hughes on the saxophone, and then me on piano.
Wow, that sounds. I want to ask you all more about that, but let's watch the video.
Yeah, watch me fix my hair. Yeah, we fixed our hair at the same time. Like, oh, we're back.
Where I was paying attention. No, that was a great tune. The melody of it in the beginning reminded me a little bit of Moacir Santos, who's a great Brazilian composer. From the
well, Ana Barreiro was a great Brazilian composer too. So now you got.
And where is she from?
She's from Minas. She's from she's from Poços de Caldas, which is like kind of a romantic honeymoon vibe. I think her parents went there on their honeymoon and then ended up staying. It's so beautiful. Like I was saying, we went when we were on tour. We went and played there, and it was just stupid gorgeous. I mean, waterfalls and the floor and the forest and everything. It was like when I had brought her to DC, I took her to the zoo because we both love animals. And she was like, oh yeah, that monkey right there, that's from my hometown. And I was like, what are you talking about? You don't have your own monkey. And she was like, no, look at the map. And there was like this little dot in Brazil. And I was like, oh, is that where you're from? And when we went, she was like, meet my monkeys.
They hang out near the
Here they are. Feed them. Like, they just chill in the park,
That's
it was
awesome.
it was pretty magical. Yeah.
So you were saying about how you were connecting the performers and creating a network that, for example, if someone in the band went to LA, they could hook up with her and make connections. And I'm interested in that. How did that come about, and how are you? I know you're expanding that beyond even the U.S. now.
Yeah, I mean, it came out super organically. This is something that I think as musicians we're always striving to do. Like when we travel, we want to meet the other musicians wherever we go and talk to them and see what it's like to be a musician there. And then, so it's a very organic thing. And so I wanted to have something that was something I was already doing for my life and for my career, and to be able to expand that, so that I could have those connections be made for me, but also for all of DC. So somebody like Anna, I brought her to the festival, and she would play the jam sessions with me. She played Mr. Henry's jam session on a Wednesday night after we finished the playing at the Hill Center, and then we would go and play at the DC Jazz Jam on a Sunday night. Like, really just trying to get people to come and spend some time in DC, because it's such a special place to me and to so many other people. The level of musicianship and community here is extremely high, and something that continues to pull me back to DC and makes me really be so proud of being from here. So I think being able to connect those guest artists with the DC scene has been a huge success for my festival, and a huge success for the DC community. A lot of people know when Anna's coming through town, you know, she's like getting messages like, "Oh, can you play this gig?" And I'm like, "No, she's with me." Like, no, Susan, you know. But like it's worked out itself really really well, and we've had a lot of really great collaborations because of that.
That is amazing. Let me just ask you a question. Have you ever, because you're such an amazing musician and you put together an amazing festival by yourself, people ever called you, like, come to New York or Los Angeles? I know you play in these places. What kept you here?
Yeah, I mean, I'd lived in LA for quite some time. I moved back in 2018. So I lived there over 5 years, and I think part of it was just being able to have this community have my back in a different way. I love LA, and I spend a lot of time not now, obviously I'm not traveling to LA, but you know, in general, and in the future I will be still spending a lot of time in LA, and it's really a great place to be a musician, and a great place to meet a lot of artists, and you know, not just music but across the spectrum, to collaborate with people. It's lovely, and it's a very passionate place, and people are very dedicated. But the thing that brought me back,
by the way, so I
yeah, you know, we can talk crap about it later. But no, it's lovely, it's great. But I think the thing that was still so appealing to me about DC is that the spirit of, you know, of this place and of this city runs so deep for me. Not only because I went to Duke Ellington School of the Arts, and I went to Howard University, and not only because I have those connections and that connection to the community, but also because of the way that it has embraced me as somebody who isn't the typical identity when you think of a jazz musician. So I've never had bad, like really terrible experiences here, and anything that's happened to me here in terms of like harassment or issues with my identity, there's always been so many people who had my back in this city, and that wasn't something that was the case when I was in LA. I felt like it was just a lot more difficult to generate community and generate support because everyone was very focused on their career path and in a very capitalist sort of way. And here, the community aspect of that, art to me is about bringing community together. So that's what I wanted, and that's what I craved. And after spending 5 years in LA and being trying to get my business together, and that's still really important. I still need to run a business. I still have to pay my bills like everybody else. And there's still so many incredible artists there that I want to work with. But here, there's a community that can't be replicated for me. There's a depth of music and a depth of knowledge and a depth of respect and for the Black experience also within jazz that I think doesn't exist in LA and doesn't exist in a lot of academic spaces. And there's something magical about DC that people really respect the history of the music, but also are really committed to the community aspect of that.
I recently, a friend of mine, Brian Falkowski, got an Emergent Seed. It's a nonprofit who supports art award, and they hooked him up with a mentor, which I think is a fantastic idea. Besides helping him produce a video and giving some resources, are there a lot of mentors here? Are you able to mentor through the festival or hook young musicians up with mentors to help them?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's also something that's so cool about DC is I think there's just this font of resources for musicians here. One of the biggest things for me growing up in DC was, of course, Duke Ellington School of the Arts and Davey Yarbrough, who's a wonderful educator, saxophonist, person, mentor for like the entire jazz community. And so gratefully and thankfully for me, and that's somebody that really made it possible for me to see myself as a musician. to see myself as an artist, to function as an artist, to function as a musician. And so I've been teaching with him, and so I studied with him and then was teaching with him pretty much simultaneously. There's like we talk about a lot of times in like academic space, the teaching and learning are happening at the same time, and that's never been more true for me than the experiences that I've had with Davey Yarbrough and with his Washington Jazz Arts Institute that he runs with Esther Williams, who's also a fabulous musician and vocalist and businesswoman. And so between the two of them, I got a lot of experience, and I still rely on them and count on them as major parts of my community, and as I hope that they rely on me and count on me as a part of their community. And so I've been mentoring students there as well, and that's a great program, the Washington Jazz Arts Institute, where there's students pretty much high school and college, a little bit post-college. And it's the time that people need to know how to transition from being a student to being a functioning musician in society. Like, how do I make money? How do I plan my first gig? How do I have what I need to be able to play for somebody else's band? What do I need to? How do I prepare for that? And so that's been a really cool experience. And I've had people that I've seen from age 13, 14, all the way until, now they're gigging and they're playing, and I call them for gigs. Like it's just a beautiful community and a great ecosystem for the DC jazz scene.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were talking about the international component of the Washington Women in Jazz. Can you expand a little more on that? Because I think that's really exciting. And Bob says he misses you at the bookstore.
Oh, Bob, I miss you. I'm coming. Awesome. Coming. Fix it up. We'll just put a hole in the wall, play outside. It'll be fine. I think the international stuff was organic too. The nice thing about this whole project for me has been that I can just stay very small and navigate and do different things whenever I want to do them. So that's been really fun to not only improvise with my music and my artistry, but also to be able to improvise with my planning and with my festival and with creating different spaces and different relationships and collaborations. So something that happened for the festival, I think it was 2014 was the first time I went to Sweden. I had an invitation to go to speak at a women's equity in the arts conference. And so I had this incredible time. I'd never been to Sweden, and then I found out that I actually have relatives who were from Gothenburg, this town in Sweden. Yeah. So it was kind of crazy coincidence there, and so I felt very at home, and I had a great time, and I really love licorice, so it was really all meant to be. But I learned so much, and the amount of organizing that Swedish musicians do is stunning. And then just to meet, I met so many women musicians and non-binary musicians who were really advocating, and they have a lot of just inspirational things that they've put together to organize around. So that was super pleasant. And then I got to invite people that I met there. I invited them to come to the Washington Women in Jazz Festival. So then they came to check out the festival, and then they said, "Oh, this is really cool, and we should, partner, and we should do something." So then it turned into the Swedish Women in Jazz project, and then I took my band there, and they brought a band here, and we just had this really big, very organic and wonderful exchange that included so many educational components where we could go into schools and talk to students about, gender equity in the arts and gender equity in arts education, and just have these real conversations that were created in this space where different ideas were meeting in such a refreshing way, because I think we get very stuck in like, this could never change, and just getting very weighted down by that. Like, oh, we're never gonna have enough women on stage, and we're never gonna have women engineers, and we're never gonna have women conductors and orchestras, and we're never gonna have, oh, it's just too much, and and that can be really depressing. So that's why we need to break out of what our concept of the arts is, and be able to connect with these people from different places.
Wow, you're the proof that you can do it. You just have to go out there and find like-minded people, build a community, and do it. I have a question from Ken. Is DC a center for musical fusion?
Ooh, musical fusion. I think also fission. There's a lot of fission happening. Musical fusion. Yes, I think that music by its nature is all about fusion. There's no musician that I know who isn't inspired by multiple different directions. Even if you say, I'm a jazz musician and I only play bebop, that's great saying you only play bebop, but who do you think those cats were listening to? Like, there's no I only do this, there's no that doesn't exist. The true genre doesn't exist. Every person who's playing, every person who's writing a song, every person who's making a record is like anyone else, absorbing absolutely everything that they've ever heard, and then trying to channel that into something that they like and that they want to hear more of. So DC is a perfect example of this, because the boundaries of genre are so loose here, and I love it. Like, I feel like I know and I play with people who are under the category of folk musicians, people who are under the category of go-go musicians, people who are under the category of R&B musicians. But you take somebody, like one of my favorite musicians, Sweet Cherie, who's this incredible pianist. She has this huge jazz background, but most people in DC know her from playing with Chuck Brown, playing keyboards for Chuck Brown. And so, like, she went to Ellington. We talk about piano technique when we get together. Like, we talk about classical music. We talk about, she came and played for the Washington Jazz Arts Institute fundraiser with her trio, and they're playing Spain, and they're hitting hard. Yeah. And and then you're like, oh wait, but she's over here with her go-go band, playing go-go. So there's so many incredibly talented musicians in this city that we're so lucky to have, that are always crossing and playing in different spaces. And I love that. And I think that we're moving forward. We're only going to see more of that for what's happening here.
So let's see the Amy K Bormet trio. We have a clip of you at the DC Jazz Festival. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. This is a song I wrote when I moved. Well, when I was moving back to DC, I decided to move back to DC. And it talks about how much I love DC. No, it talks about how this magnetic pull I had back to this place, and how it's my home, and all the feelings that I had of, okay, I'm leaving LA. And I think that for a lot of musicians, it feels like, if you don't live in New York, you don't live in LA, you're never going to make it as a musician, and you're not a real musician. And I was like, I'm leaving LA, and that's kind of sad, but they have so many things that I want to do with my community. So it was kind of just about that trip, driving in my car. Matt, my husband, and I, just with like our bikes tied on the back and all of our instruments piled in our little hatchback, and how we drove back from California, and it was a beautiful thing.
Cool. Well, let's.
Yeah, and this is with Terrence Arnett, who I played with since I was 16 years old. Wonderful drummer. We went to high school together, and fantastic. And the wonderful Taurus Mateen on bass.
Cool. Let's hear it.
Drifting through canyons on the highway, shadows and colors drenched with light. again. Home, I'm coming home again. drenched with light, tracing the lines I'm sure to follow. Magnetic roots, they pull me back. They say the grass is always greener. What happens when you start with sand? I'm coming home to see old friends again. Will my heart break?
Oh, thank you, audience of many. Yeah, that was fun. That was a really fun gig. I love playing with those dudes.
You've been playing
Taurus
with them
is-
since you were 16, you said.
I know.
amazing.
We used to play like I remember our first gig we did together was me and him and Herb Scott. we had a gig at the Four Seasons. Yarborough got us this gig. And we had so much fun. And then we just went and ate pizza fries afterwards. It was a good time. It was a great gig for a 16-year-old.
That's
I was pretty pleased with myself.
Thank you, Susan and Tatiana, for tuning in and the great words. Since we just showed you, you have a show coming up. Let's promote that. You have a show on, is it March 22nd?
It is. It's March 22nd. So this is part of Washington Women in Jazz Festival, the virtual version. And this is going to be a virtual concert that I'm doing at Andi Musique, if you will. Andi Musique in Baltimore. You can say it better, you know German. In Baltimore, and it's a lovely space, and they're doing virtual concerts now. And it's sponsored by them, and they have a regular solo piano concert series. Don't tell them I'll be singing a lot.
I think people like
And-
it a lot.
Shh, they'll never know. Solo meaning just me. But yeah, so they have a regular solo piano series there, and then I'll be a part of that. And it's also sponsored a collaboration with the DC Jazz Festival. So they'll be doing an interview with me. In case you can't get enough information about me, you can have another.
The link there on the screen, and people can buy tickets to that, right? If they go to
They can, yes, and you can watch it. I believe for a week.
Oh.
You can watch the concert. So it'll be really fun. I've watched some of the other ones that they've done for Andi Musique, and they have just a lovely camera setup, multi-camera, lovely miking. So so I'm really looking forward to not having to run the cameras and the microphones myself, and the lighting, and just being able to
the wonders
Yeah.
of doing home shows.
just being able to play my thing. So
Well, I'm gonna
I've-
go out. I'm gonna buy. It's great that you can watch it for a week. That's awesome.
yeah,
So
yeah.
You miss it, or
Yeah, no excuses.
Popcorn.
People are like, I can't make that. I'm like, well, it's on the internet. So do you have the internet ever?
Kate and I. Let me acknowledge, since it's Women's Month, right? Let's acknowledge the man behind, the woman behind all of it.
Yes.
Kate Janos is the show producer, and she's making magic happen. So thank you, Kate.
Yeah, Kate's on it. She's making
Great.
it all
And do you have-
making it all come together.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
I'm super excited about this show because I've been doing a lot of writing, and I have enough writing for so many concerts. I'm trying to narrow it down and make make the most of this evening. So it'll be all new music and a couple of solo piano things, but like I said, mostly songs, and they're the things that I've picked that I want to play at this concert are very story oriented songs. I thought they went together really nicely. So they're stories, but they're if you like stories and you like extra piano with your stories, you're gonna love it. So
I don't
yes.
think I know anyone in the world who doesn't like stories and who doesn't like piano. So it's a winning combo.
It's extra. I got all jazz chords, so
Although
I
I
play
would like
all
for
the
you
notes.
your next album to maybe have a story about Brazil or in Portuguese. You speak Portuguese, actually.
You know, my first album has a song in Portuguese on it. Did you know that? Deep Cut. Yeah. Do you know Andres Maturin? He's a violinist, and he wrote some lyrics to one of my songs. I had English lyrics, and he wrote. We were at Betty Carter Jazz Ahead together in like 2010, and he wrote some Portuguese lyrics on the bus when we were going. We had a gig in like Delaware or something. So I was like, "Yo, do you want to write some Portuguese lyrics?"
That's awesome.
We just sat on the bus and worked them out. So it's on my first album.
And you sang it in Portuguese.
I did. I don't think my Portuguese is as good as it would be now, but it was 10 years ago, so it wasn't bad.
I believe it.
Thank you.
Do you have any other projects that you're doing that you're going to be performing that we can let people know about?
This is the only thing that I'm doing for the festival that I'm performing is this solo concert, and then I also have a duo project that I just recorded with Lee Pilzer, and that's also all new music She's been writing a bunch of new music, and I wrote a bunch of new music. So we played all of our new tunes together, and it was super fun. I know there's probably, you're a musician, and there's other musicians listening. There's that feeling when you're like, well, it's not perfect, but let's do it. You know, like it's new. It's something that we haven't done. So there's so much energy in that. So it was a really fun collaboration.
Feeling.
Yeah, where you're like, you just have to go for it, you know, or it falls flat. Like it's, you know, go big or go home kind of thing. Like you just got to commit.
Kate and I are working with some friends on, one of them is an accordion player. So he's in a family of pianos. And we're working on mixing Brazilian and Irish music and dance, so Irish step dancing. So that feeling is definitely there.
Yeah, where you're like this.
I can tell by your face. It's like, how does that?
No, I like it. I see it. I see it happening. I see it happening, and the answer is 16th notes. Like I see it. There you go. I already know.
With all those foot triplets that.
Yeah. I dig that. That's a cool combo.
I know you're also featuring a lot of cool artists, emerging artists.
It's like, yep, 16th notes. I got them down in my feet.
And do you want to highlight? I know you like found some amazing performers that will be performing. When does the festival start again?
Tomorrow. So the festival starts Saturday the 6th at 6 p.m. And you can go right there. Do Washington Women in Jazz /events. And if you click on the event, there'll be a video and you can watch it.
And you have to pay for it, or is it free?
No, it's free for you. If you know the password, which is, there's no password. The key, there is no key. So
there is no key.
Yeah, it's like that.
Festival?
There is a festival.
Can you tell us a little bit about the events, if it's not too long, or if you want to just do the highlights, just so.
Sure. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm playing solo, which is going to be cool. But let's start at the beginning. I started a partnership more because I love people, and I gotta keep this network growing, even in a virtual space. So I started a partnership with Patricia Lopez, who's a fantastic saxophonist from Uruguay. She was supposed to come here to DC to do some research, and we were going to play gigs last summer. It was going to be hot. We didn't know each other, but we had reached out to each other, and we were like, this is going to be great. Let's play some jazz. It's going to be awesome. And then, of course, she didn't come, and we were trying to figure out how to do something cool on the internet in the interim. And so we put this project together, and we're featuring 4 women musicians from South America. So 2 from Argentina, 1 from Chile, and 1 from Uruguay, which is Patricia. And they are going to be playing concerts, a concert, and then I'll be interviewing them. So the conversations will all be bilingual, English and Spanish. And so it's Mujeres de Iberoamerica in El Jazz, and they have a Facebook page, and they're also linked everywhere on the Washington Women in Jazz website. But it's going to be fantastic. So I have those 4 concerts, and then I also have Jessica Boykin-Settles will be performing. She's a wonderful vocalist and voice professor at Howard University, jazz voice professor. Karen Chapdelaine, fantastic bassist, originally from Quebec, and she's been on the festival forever. And like I said, Lee Pilzer and I will be doing some duos. And so the 4 of us actually were. When I planned, I was trying to sort of make up for 2020 and book people who were supposed to be on 2020. And somebody mentioned to me, did you mean to book people who were on the original festival for this year? And I was like, no, but I think I did last year, because I was like, oh, it's the 10th anniversary, and let's celebrate the 10th anniversary with like this same group of people getting together, because it was supposed to be us performing at Montpelier. And so now we've split into duos to record our concerts, so we didn't have to all record together. But that was one of the original groups from the festival was, I had paired, the original festival, I had paired 1 vocalist and 1 instrumentalist together. And so that was Jess and Lee, Jessica Boykin-Settles and Lee Pilzer, Dr. Lee Pilzer, and soon to be Dr. Jessica Boykin-Settles, the smartest people on the festival. And I paired them together, and they were so fantastic. They never performed together. And so I have both of them playing again this year. So it's a little bit of a throwback. And I have the original pictures from the 2011 festival at Twins, I have them up on the website, so it's kind of cute to look at them.
You just showed myself the video, the original video of the recording about it. That was awesome.
It's super
cute. You should
cute.
put that up.
Okay, I will. It's super cute. So, so we're doing, each of us, we're doing a duo. So Karen and Jess, so it'll be bass and voice, like a real stripped down. She has some jazz standards that they've reharmonized, and an extra special surprise pop tune that has been reharmonized and is really, really fun. That I won't reveal now. And then Lee and I are, doing all original stuff. And then I also am doing a jam session on the internet on Monday. If anyone would like to attend,
really?
You need to send me a message and I will drop you a link. Yes.
Is it like the special kind of soft? What do they call it? Jam Kazam, or there's a couple of special ones. It's just Zoom.
It's just going to be chaos. It's going to be awesome. This was inspired because I've been spending so much time on the internet having jam sessions. I've done, Jam Kazam is cool. It's great to play together, but there's something really specific about not being able to play over each other that I find very satisfying about trying to have a jam session on Zoom. So I've called it the Zoom Doom Jam because if you have too many people playing at the same time, it don't work. And so you have to kind of be aware of who's there and who hasn't done anything and leave some space for them, which I find very satisfying. Join the Zoom Doom Jam. Yes.
Yeah.
So I have some information on the website about that too. If anyone wants to join tomorrow.
Let's say in a while there's going to be Zoom forever now, and it's video, but eventually, hopefully, the pandemic will die down. Do you think this is a new genre of music?
I kind of feel like it works in a weird sort of way. I've definitely felt like some things have today I was on Zoom doing a jam session, and it worked. It was strange, but it worked. The thing is, you have to convert to the platform. You have to be able to you have to be okay with it not being swinging 4/4. Here we are, jam session. This is the time can never really be good. They can't lock.
Yeah.
So you can't have a pocket. So
Sounds
you have
great.
to. I know, exactly. So you have to find a different way of fabricating something.
Yeah.
Of making sounds. So coming up with, and so I'm for Monday I'm gonna have different prompts that we can kind of come up with sounds and colors and ways of creating those aural places.
That is so cool.
I think it'll be fun. And if it's not, okay.
I just imagine. Can you imagine 10 years from now, a hipster band, you're at a live performance, and on stage they recreate being in a Zoom, so you're walking.
Whoa,
anyway.
That could definitely happen. But I think this is part of it too, is that a lot of stuff that's coming out of this, we already had all these virtual reality things that were happening. Tupac already played the gig, he was at Coachella. They had the hologram people. I don't think we're far away from that. I think that especially the way that arena shows are made now, you look at Beyonce's arena show. It's meant to be captured and put on Instagram. It's gigantic. And then is Beyonce really even there? Can you even see her where you're sitting? I don't know. She could not be there. Or there could be a Beyonce lookalike. You wouldn't know. So I think that's the wave of the future.
Wow.
If not now.
That sounds a little depressing.
Sorry. Very depressing. But you know what? We're always going to play cool gigs with fun people and face to face with people. That's never going away. That's that's the funnest thing ever.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Let's brighten our mood with March of the Missing.
Oh yeah, that's a real mood brightener. So this came out of a collaboration I did, I was talking about, with Sweden. The band that came from Sweden we did a double bill at the Swedish Embassy with my band, and then the band, it was 5 people that came from Sweden, women and non-binary musicians, and we had this awesome full day of activities and crazy stuff, and talking about gender and music, and we had all these professors that had come from Sweden and professors from here, and it was great. And then we ended with a concert, and this woman, Biggie Winklow, I really got to know her when we went to Sweden because she drove us around. We had 2 vans, so each band had a van, but none of us could drive in Sweden, so she drove us around. And Biggie is we have our own Biggie tour. You know, it was like a magical adventure with Biggie because she knew every place ever, like up and down this coast. That we went up and down the west coast of Sweden, and so we really got to hang out and we played a lot of music together. And on that tour, I had with me Tina Raymond, who's a fantastic drummer in LA, and so the three of us started playing together a lot. And so this is from, I think this video is from our first album. We now have 2 albums out, and it's just it's completely improvised. Every album, both albums are completely improvised.
Wow,
so.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's hear it then. All right.
Rock and roll.
That's awesome. Let me, Kate reminded me, we need to show a quick promo of the shows that we have coming up. So, Kate, do you want to let it roll?
Attractions.
All right, there you go.
Oh, I'm sorry, I got distracted. That was the jam.
That was the jam.
So many good people. Allison Crockett, I love her.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Alon Mitchell.
I love everybody.
Kate's going to be on. Oye, Andrea.
Number one, Kate.
Yeah, next week, actually, that's the next show, I believe. And Kate's going to be on with two other percussive dancers who are amazing, Becky and Nick Garris. And they're going to be talking about the step, the percussive step. So that should be really fun.
I need to watch that. I told you I just samba backwards and I fall out the back door and then I get confused. It might be the drinking.
We'll have you on as a
business,
panelist.
Yeah. Great example. How not to do that. It's me. I'm available.
That's right. Well, we have slowly arrived at the end of the show, which is a shame. I always love talking to you. But I'm glad we were able to get together here and do a promotion. Do you want to say anything about the festival or just in general what you're doing?
Sure. Just everybody tune in, please, and watch and share. I think something that I've been trying to figure out is the more you can share, especially on Facebook, and share with your network, then we get more people watching. WashingtonWomenInJazz.com, and we're always looking for more support. So we have a donation on there, WashingtonWomenInJazz.com/donate. Just trying to gear up for the summer to do some stuff outside, and eventually, in venues again.
Let me ask you, have you thought about next year or even the year after that? What are you thinking?
I'm not thinking about any of that because I feel like I've just been burned. I was talking about the tour that I have with Anna. I've rescheduled that 3 times now, and I'm just taking it as it comes because it's a very difficult time to be the type of people who are really into planning, as we are. Yeah. And so I'm just trying to just be zen about it, and just chill and relax my way into some gigs, because I think it's hard to look in the crystal ball and figure out what's going to be this and what's going to be that and what's going to be this. So I'm leaving things, trying to leave things as flexible as possible, which is why the virtual festival could be planned. And just thinking about doing a lot more recording work and trying to stay optimistic and positive and keep connecting with people so that eventually we can actually play some music together in person.
Do you have it like a spidey sense? Like, I feel like Zoom festivals are going to be more Zoom in the future or less, or any
I think after
this for a long time, you have a lot of experience in it.
Yeah, I think after this, I feel like once I get good at it, then it won't matter anymore. I'll be like, dang, I just figured it out. No, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I think that definitely this is something that's really increased accessibility to so many people, being able to watch these shows and being able to connect people who don't live in cities, people who don't have access to the arts. It's created people who have disabilities that they can't come to jazz clubs up 8 flights of stairs, like all these things that like we've really made. You think about a typical jazz club and the things that turn people off from going to a jazz club: the money, the food, the awkwardness of people drinking too much, the fact that you can't even hear the music once you get there because people are too loud in the back. There's so many reasons. The giant steps of the street that you can't find anywhere to park. Like, there's all these issues that come up when you think about traditional venues. So now, being able to increase accessibility to that, and I think this will definitely be something that musicians, once we've figured this out, we know that we can also use this as a potential way of income. That's so much better than the pennies you're getting off of Spotify. And you can set up your stuff and have a live audience. You can do hybrid situations And
it's more economically accessible, right? I mean, if you go to a jazz venue, it's great, and you should support the venues, but you have to pay to get in, you have to pay to get parking. There's a minimum to drink. You can just pay a smaller fee that goes directly to the artist, at least, you know.
Yeah, and it gives you as a musician a chance to broaden your network. You know, I have networks of musicians. Every year I go to Michigan. I went to the University of Michigan. Every year I go to Michigan at least twice a year and perform in Detroit and Ann Arbor. Then, you know, I'm performing in LA. I'm performing in DC. I'm performing in New York. I perform in Sweden several times now. I'm performing in Europe. I'm performing in Brazil. And this is a place where I'm able to use my entire email newsletter, for lack of a better word for my audience, my entire email newsletter, and not segmented portions, because I'm saying I have a festival, you can watch it online, click this button, figure out what your time zone is, and click this button. You know, here's a time zone calculator. Just click that button and send it to everyone you know. You know, I played in Thailand in February, and I'm sending it to people that I met in Thailand at the Bangkok Jazz Festival and be like, here, you know, this is, you can come hang out.
Cool.
It's a 12-hour time difference, but who cares? It's a completely different thing.
Perfect start to your day, and nice, great music.
There you go.
So Tatiana's asking, and we'll answer her here. So the Women in Jazz Fest is tomorrow. If so, when is Amy playing? So it is starting tomorrow.
Yes. So every Saturday in March and every Monday in March there is something happening. So you can go to WashingtonWomenInJazz.com/events. Tomorrow I will be interviewing Ingrid Finnegar, who's a wonderful saxophonist, multi-instrumentalist, saxophone, bass clarinet, super funky. She's from Argentina, so I'll be interviewing her, and it'll be in English and Spanish after her concert will be debuted tomorrow. It's a pre-recorded concert. It's really nice. It's beautiful quality, incredible music, great band, lovely video. So I'm super excited about presenting that. That'll be like a 30-minute concert, and then we'll do a 15-minute interview, and you can ask some questions about her music, about her growing up in Argentina, et cetera, et cetera. And then that format will be every Saturday with other women from South America, and then the Monday nights will be different concerts.
And after the recordings go live, are they then available on YouTube to watch?
Yes, so you can watch on our YouTube page. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And then the second answer to your question, Tatiana, is on March 22nd, you can catch one of Amy's shows. She's playing at Andi Musica solo show there at the Tiny URL.
Yes.
That Kate and I will be attending. All right, so thank you for giving your time and being here with us. I really appreciate it. And I want to wish you a fantastic festival. Kate and I will be supporting it, and I hope that our audiences do as well.
Well, thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to see all the wonderful things that you have happening. I had so much fun at the Samba Percussion Day. I was jamming out. Y'all always have a good time, and you have really great artists, and just a fabulous, that genre fluid. It's Brazilian, it's Irish dancing. It's just so wonderful to see all the fantastic programming that you have coming up. Just really great musicians and a lot of DC people too. So it makes me extra happy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful evening. Say hello to Matt for us, and have a great festival weekend.
I will. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow night for Washington Women in Jazz debut.
All right. Ciao.
Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Kate.